Here with MLB Players Association Executive Director Tony Clark. And tomorrow we've got the Players Trust Playmakers Classic, a really cool event you guys have done over the last few years. What are you looking forward to about it?
Well, this is the third year, as you mentioned. Well, last year we had it in Las Vegas during the winter. This year we're doing it in the spring here in AZ, and so we're excited about it. We're excited not just about the programming itself and the support that it can provide to the Trust, but the opportunity with the baseball world, or at least half of the baseball world, here in Arizona for spring training, that we've put ourselves in a position to maximize the attention on the event itself, and hoping that it continues to grow.
For fans that are going, sponsors that are going, anyone that's going, what should they expect?
Well, you've got a little bit of everything. And so if you're a gambling person, you'll have an opportunity to gamble a bit. If you're into entertainment in general, you'll have an opportunity to enjoy that. There are games all around, and obviously we're going to have a number of players there as well. And so anybody that's a baseball fan, anybody that has a charitable, philanthropic bone in their body and likes to combine the two, this is going to be the place to be.
And you mentioned, doing it in the winter last year in Vegas, now coming to Arizona in spring, Cactus League play, getting ready to get started. We joked off camera, maybe your bed might be your favorite place in Arizona, but what are some things in Arizona that you enjoy doing during Cactus League?
Well, for me, I've been a bit spoiled. So after my first couple of years in pro ball, having an opportunity to be out here, there is no better time of the year, selfishly, than spring training here in Arizona. And so having had an opportunity in my last 5 years to have spring here, getting up, going to the ballpark and experiencing spring training here in Arizona, you can appreciate the golf, you can appreciate the hiking trails, you can appreciate the great food that's here, and some of the old town areas there in Old Phoenix. But I'll say again that this time of year, from really 1st of February through the end of March, is baseball heaven for anyone who loves the game and loves to be around it with the weather that's here and all the teams that are here and the ballparks that are here. It's pretty perfect.
Right, and it's not a knock on Florida, but you can drive within 45 minutes and end up at any one of the ballparks out here.
Yeah, I didn't want to say that because I didn't want to slight Florida, having had as many spring trainings as I had in Florida. But you're right, Arizona's commutable in a way that makes it easy to see a ball game on the west side in the afternoon, and then perhaps see a night game on the other side later that evening. So again, I'll repeat what I said: if you're a baseball aficionado, you're somebody who loves the game, this is the place to be.
Are there any storylines in the Cactus League? I know, obviously, in your position, you get to know everybody, but are there storylines, players, teams that you're really interested in following just throughout the spring?
Well, not me personally interested in following. I follow all 30 and support all 30. But no, I think whether it is one of the 30 teams or whether you're in Arizona or Florida, when you get to spring training, there are guys that expect to make the ball club, and there are always surprises every year. And so you look forward to the next young kid who has an opportunity to make a club. You look to have a veteran player continue to play and enjoy and appreciate the value and experience that he brings to the ballpark. So every year there's always something and there's always some surprise. So for me, getting an opportunity to see each of the guys and each of the teams throughout the course of the next 5 or 6 weeks or so is something that I appreciate and don't take for granted.
Getting into a little bit of the business side of things as well. So I think we've experienced it here in Arizona over the last couple of years with the TV deals, with Bally's falling out, and now you have the FanDuel networks and all that. On your side of things, as you hear, like this morning, Derek Hall and Ken Kendrick are talking about, playing games on TV, on MLB.TV, as well as dishing it out to potentially up to 15 different stations out here locally. How do you see that as we're in this changing landscape with the TV deals and how it affects things on the player side of things?
Well, I think to your point, it is a changing landscape. It is one that folks had anticipated to a certain extent, but have adjusted here over the last couple of years and seem to have a little firmer footing underneath them as everyone tries to adjust and adapt to how fans digest and take in their sports. And so, as you just highlighted, with the Diamondbacks having an opportunity to work through the MLB.com and MLB Network is one avenue. Being in a world where you can get the games to more players is going to be of value. But each market can be a little bit different, and as such, having the flexibility to adapt and adjust and get those games to their consumers is going to be important, and a lot of teams have done that. A lot of teams have covered themselves for the next couple of years, and then we'll have to see where things net out from there. But on the player side, having an opportunity to have our fans see the games, appreciate the games, enjoy the games, always has been important, will continue to be, even in the changing landscape.
So I have fans come to me sometimes, even just at spring training this week, and they kind of ask, obviously the CBA expires next year, 2026. In your position, with time to work with, what are some of the conversations like with players or with owners? Like, what are some of the concerns that you're seeing as you get ready for those negotiations in a couple years?
Well, the interesting thing is no sooner does the last agreement get done when you start prepping for the next one. So we have typically had 5-year agreements, at least over the last couple of decades. And you're right, our expiration of this agreement happens at the end of 2026. And so we have conversations with players every year about what it is we're seeing, what it is that it looks like, what trends are happening, which adjustments did we make that worked, which ones didn't, how they're affecting the game, positively or negatively. And as such, making sure that we get our feedback or get the feedback from the players along the way. So we may be seeing one thing, they may be experiencing something else, but at the end of the day, ensuring that when we do sit down at the bargaining table, their interests are represented, their concerns are voiced, and we position ourselves to make sure that we protect their rights and advance their rights and interests moving forward as the game continues to grow is going to be paramount. So as we engage players this year, we'll have conversations about all the moving pieces as we prep ahead of 2026. Each round will have a different set of players to a certain extent at the table, and making sure that they are educated and up to speed is going to be important.
Is the trend of contracts being signed later and later in the offseason the last couple of years, is that something that has been prevalently talked about among you guys so far, or not so much?
Timing and contract terms is always a topic of conversation, particularly when you find yourself in a world where you as a player don't have any contract offers, and then magically you have 3 of them in 24 hours, or you find yourself in a world where you get a contract offer and those terms or the terms across 3 or 4 teams are remarkably similar. So there's always attention paid to timing. There's always attention paid to term. There's always attention paid to any particular offseason, because each offseason is a little bit different than the last as to how it's all the pieces are going to come together. But you simply hope, starting every offseason and finishing every offseason, that all 30 teams are interested in being the last team standing and willing to do what they need to do to try to be that team.
2 more things for you, and I'll get you out of here. Is there a current player that you see that could become, because you were the first executive director that's a former player, is there a current player now that you see that could play that role years down the line?
Years down the line, look, we've got an unbelievable group of players. And so the one thing that has been a tremendous positive for us over the last handful of years is having more players involved and engaged in understanding as to how the proverbial cake is made. I leave it to them as to whether or not they want to jump into the fray when they're done playing, but can appreciate nonetheless that regardless of team, and to a certain extent, regardless of what their native language is, the passion and commitment to the game and the well-being of it and ensuring that the next generation has it better than they have it is something that all players are interested in.
Last thing, I know we touched on the event to open things up, but your elevator pitch to people that are coming out or that want to know about this event, whether it's for tomorrow or for future years, what would it be?
In New York, where our office is right now, they are shoveling snow. The opportunity to come down to spring training and spend a couple of weeks, a couple of months, enjoying the game, green grass, great weather, and being surrounded by others who love it and are excited about the game, come to AZ. You can go to Florida, but don't hesitate to come to AZ.
Awesome. Well, Tony, I appreciate the time. Thank you so
You got
much.
it. Thank you.